All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. This meeting has been advertised in accordance with New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act and is publicly accessible in accordance with law. Roll call, please.
Kevin,
Here,
Rocco Celentano, absent. David Cittadino, absent. Dr. George? Here. Sarah? Sarah on?
no.
No. Maria?
No.
Not on. I am here. Zainab?
Here.
Maddie?
Here.
Mayor Walker is out. Frank Weber?
Here,
Thank you.
And did you get Dr. George?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did. I didn't. Okay. Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
to the
republic
republic,
which
which stands
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible.
indivisible,
liberty.
liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. So we don't have anything for executive session. We will go right into approval of minutes from last month. So I will ask for a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes as well as the executive session meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Weber moved.
Thank you. A second? Second?
I wasn't
Anyone?
here.
I'll second it then. Okay, discussion. So let's just quickly discuss, Chris, we had some questions regarding meeting minutes.
Sure.
So in the past, you had stated that if someone is not here for that meeting, they can still approve the meeting minutes because they're basically accepting them to be record. Is that correct?
That is correct. You do not need to have been here. You need to have reviewed the minutes and agree or trust that they are reflective of what happened.
And does the same go for making a motion? So if someone wasn't here in prior month, can they still make a motion or second it?
Such as for the minutes, you mean?
For the minutes, yes.
Yes,
Okay, so it's the same thing.
Yep.
So I just wanted to cover that off because there was some questions. I don't know if anybody had any discussion regarding minutes or that detail. Okay, with that, I'll ask for roll call.
Kevin,
Yes.
Dr. George?
Yes.
I will say yes. Zainab?
Here.
Okay, Maddie?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes,
Thank you.
All right, moving on to personnel items. So do we want to bulk these in any way? No, I guess we'll take them one at a time, right? So I'll ask for a motion for item A.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second? This is
I
for
second.
resignation of the per diem library. Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Dr. George?
Yes.
I will say yes. Zainab?
Yes.
Maddie?
Yes.
Frank?
yes,
Kevin?
Yes, okay. And accept the resignation of another per diem library assistant. Motion,
I'll make the motion.
thank you. Second,
I second.
thank you.
Is that Maddie?
yes.
Any discussion? Roll call?
I will say yes. Zainab?
Zainab?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, my.
No problem.
Maddie?
Yes.
Frank?
yes,
Kevin?
Yes,
Dr. George? Yes. Thank you.
okay, so the appointments, they're all library assistants to Lawrence Harbor. Does anyone have any objection to, if I ask for a motion for C, D, and E?
I'm good with that.
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, any
Zainab?
discussion? Roll call, please.
Zainab?
Yes.
Maddie?
Yes.
Frank?
yes,
Kevin?
Yes.
Dr. George?
Yes.
And I am a yes.
Okay, moving on to finance. Action on the July 10th bill listing in the amount of $236,857.73. Usually Maria makes the motion on this and advises if she had any concerns. I reached out to her. I did not hear anything. I did not see any email or anything regarding any questions. Was there any?
There were no questions.
There were no questions this month. So based on that, would someone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Okay, I'll second it then. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Maddie?
Yes.
Frank?
Pass.
Kevin?
Yes.
Dr. George?
No,
No?
No.
no,
Okay, and I am a yes. Zainab?
Yes.
And you go back to Frank because you passed.
Oh, Frank?
Abstain.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Old business, anything for old business? Nothing, okay. We'll move on to new business, library website.
Okay, I got a couple of things under new business. One, I noticed today when I looked at it, do we post the actual agenda on the webpage? I know the meeting information is there, but in fact, not that I think we've ever had a complaint about it, but it would seem it would make sense that once the agenda goes out to the trustees, it should be posted online as well, so that if somebody who wants to observe how the meeting goes and what the issues are, when a major issue comes up for expense or anything like that, it would be prudent from my standpoint, to at least have that on the agenda at the same time it's released to the trustees.
It is.
When's it?
Where is it on the,
it's not right in your face. You got, the thing is you gotta go to board and go to minutes and agendas.
Right.
It's on
So-
the township website and also the library website.
So on the
Yeah.
library website, it's on the,
Uh,
you have to go to the library website and go to board, and it's on the agendas, which is similar to what the Board of Ed and others do as well.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
all right,
and is that posted the same time? It's not posted the same time it goes out to board members, right? It's probably
Right after.
right after, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right. That's all I have right now.
Okay. Do you want me to
Yeah,
jump in?
okay.
Okay. So the reason that I put with the website is that we have two projects that have been delayed for a bit, and they're becoming kind of critical. And that's why I wanted to make sure that they were put in today. So the website, the issue that we have with our website, and I know that Maria had asked at one point why we were still paying the vendor for the maintenance of our website. And the issue is, now, I'm sorry, now that we have an information technology manager, the issue with our website is it is a WordPress website that has had a lot of special code layered on top of it. And because that code is proprietary to the vendor, we're not able to get in and make any changes. So essentially, if we got rid of them right now, we would have no website. So the solution to this, because it's very easy for us to go in and make the changes and start making the massive changes that we want to our website. And that's before you get to a full redesign. A full redesign is a big project that takes a lot of community response, and that can take up to a year to get done. What I'm talking about is just the organization of the website. Our last figure that I got was so far this year, we had almost 500,000 hits on our website. So our website is getting used.
Mhm.
And right now it's just confusing. It's not laid out. It's not the best for people with special needs, that kind of thing. So what we need to do is take control of it back. That involves building a duplicate that has all the functionality that ours has, and then we'll be able to tell the vendor that we're no longer going with them and take over doing all the maintenance ourselves. And then when we get to a full redesign, that's a matter that we'll discuss with the board. But this right now is just so we can stop paying $4,000 a year for someone else to delay us in making changes to our website. Instead, we can just make them ourselves.
And do we own the domain name?
We do.
We do.
The domain we have, that's
Mhm.
not an issue. And any changes that we make, particularly with this new catalog coming in, it takes us days to get any kind of response from the vendor. So this is really critical that we're able to make these changes ourselves. And it's either go through an entire redesign now, which can take up to a year, or get control of our website back. So what I did was I went out to a couple of vendors, and the prices seemed a little high to me, so I checked in with other library directors. And I also checked in with Stan, with the head of IT for the town, and everybody said that the prices that we got were spot on. With it being about $7,000 to get that copy of the website made, and then that gets offset because we're no longer paying $4,000 for the other company to make changes for us. And that company is now saying we need a redesign, because I asked them what it was included in their contract, and they came back and said that they wanted to basically do more.
Mhm.
And I want them to do none.
Mhm.
So if that makes sense, the companies that gave us estimates, one I have is Iguana Designs, another one is Renaissance Web Solutions, another one is Sterling. And I've gotten feedback from the other library directors in LMXAC, and they all, everyone pretty much agrees that the Renaissance company is the one that got the most recommendations from other directors. And they have been checking in with us since I originally proposed this, and got the information in February. So I know that they're engaged.
Do you have a list of those libraries that use Renaissance so we could look at their websites?
Well, we're not asking someone to design our website. When that comes up, I would give you a list and I
Okay.
would give you those proposals. The only thing we're asking for right now is to have them build the copy of our website, and then we'll take over, and then we'll start the process of redesign, so we don't have to rush through that.
So without a vendor, then after, who's gonna manage the website?
Our IT manager.
So the process is, let me just clarify this for myself and I think for others as well, right? The process is, we need someone to take what we already have as our website and pull it over for us.
Yes,
And that's what we're paying for. So it'll still be the same website, which then we'll have control over.
yes.
And then our IT manager, Adam, can go in and start designing his own website and taking full control of it.
And yes, that's essentially it. We're not gonna make big design changes,
Mhm.
just organization of resources.
So currently, the company that we pay to design our website, manage our website, what do we pay them approximately?
It's 4,000 a year.
It's 4,000 a year. So we would save that 4,000, but we would pay 7,000.
It's 8,000, I'm sorry, I'm looking
Eight
at
that, we pay 8,000 for someone.
for
to
one
lift
time.
And move it over and do a one-time move to
Correct.
our, and then we would have no cost to them next year. Or
Ever
going
again.
forward, or anyone going forward.
Correct.
So we would save 4,000 a year. So in 2 years, we would make that back and Adam would continue to manage the website.
Correct.
Sounds good.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
So are you asking for us to make a motion to go with Renaissance to move this?
Yeah, with the 8,000, I wasn't sure what we'd be able to move forward with today.
Okay,
But it's something that we'd like to get started. It's gonna take about a month for the copy to be built. And then we'll be able to go ahead with it. So that's what we have.
okay.
Question, do you have quotes from those three people you've mentioned?
Yes,
All right, I would like to see those before I would consider voting on them. And since it's been since February, I don't know that it's going to be a horror if we table it until then.
I think waiting any longer
I can
with
see if there's a
these
motion.
makes us look less responsive day by day to the community.
I'm
And
making a
extending it
motion.
again is gonna be another 6 months,
How's it gonna be another 6 months?
because it's already been 6 months. And when it's been every month. Table it.
Well,
Well,
since-
if I don't get adequate information, and I haven't had it for 6 months.
You have,
Really? Okay.
What were the vendors that you have?
Okay, what were the 3 quotes?
Give us the three, all the vendors in the. amounts.
Iguana is 6,500. Iguana is an individual person. Renaissance is the 8,000. And then Sterling was 7,500, and I apologize, that's not in front of me, but I'm quite certain of that. And I went over all of them with the town IT manager.
So what is it exactly? Because you're saying that they're just gonna take the website that we have now and kind of move it over. They're not adjusting or changing. So
Right.
what's the difference in price that one is so much higher than the other? to do that?
One is a company that serves a lot of other libraries, and one is an individual who kind of does this on the side. The 2 lower were the people who kind of do it on the side, and Renaissance is a larger organization that has to me, a better and more responsive reputation.
But is there a difference in the way they're moving it
No,
over or
no.
providing anything different?
I would say expertise and resources.
Yeah.
That if they run into a problem, it's one person trying to figure it out. And Renaissance is one who's done, as an example, Renaissance does have a list. Rockville Center Library, Springdale Library, Cherry Hill Library, those are just 3 of the many libraries that they're involved with.
I would like to see at least 3 references from each of the vendors that can be checked before we go forward.
Where is Renaissance located?
Renaissance is located in Vernon,
So they're a New Jersey company,
correct?
so they're somewhat local.
Yes, and they have other sites here, but that's not what's being questioned.
I believe I made a motion to table.
You didn't, there's no motion in principle yet, Frank, so Kevin, we would need to see if there's a motion to appoint Renaissance.
Okay, do we have a motion to appoint Renaissance to move the website? No, okay.
Well,
So,
you know what? Since I've been here, I mean, this has been a topic since I came on board, so it's been a while. And
so why don't we do it this way, right? Because there is some of the discussion of it's been 6 months, it's gonna be 6 months.
I think we lost everybody.
Did we lose everybody?
Nope, they're all for.
People and I would
There
Okay,
you
not
are.
even
Maddie, you got
considered-
cut off after you said it's been 6 months.
no, can you hear me now?
yes,
Yes.
No, I just said that since I came on board, this has been a topic, and I'm just wondering, why, it's taking a long time to get this website going.
agreed, and I do think that updating the website has been one of our priorities for quite some time. We've had it on the to-do list. So I'll suggest that we look to put it on the August agenda. So there is no further discussion about it. So any questions that anyone has or any information that they'd like to request, they can request to be sent out. We'll ask the director to get that out as soon as possible. Everyone should have the information in a month to look at this over, and we can come back in August to make a decision. Anybody else have any feelings on that?
I think
Well,
it's-
I think the important thing to realize is that this is taxpayer money we're spending. I don't have any problem understanding that we want to improve it. but we can't, at least I will not support something that I don't have enough physical information on me. In other words, we're told we have Renaissance here, an existing company. They can give us references. I haven't heard anything from the director about the two independents. Can they supply us with comparable
And that was
references?
all sent to you in March with the invitation to ask any additional questions in every single month since then.
My position simply is that that information should be shared with all of the board members whenever you come to something that's going to be proposed to spend money in that dollar amount, however valid the money amount is. And as far as the guy at town hall, we were in under the threshold of that, our old thing before without talking to him. So
Okay.
It's
is
free
he- is-
expertise.
So this is what we're going to do. I'm gonna ask that this get added to the August agenda. There's a couple of things that while we're at this topic, I'd like to kind of cover off, right? So, I see that there's a lot of improvements going on, which is certainly a positive thing. And then there winds up, of course, being a lot of questions as to why do we need to go with this quote or that company and so on and so forth. A lot of this stuff needs to be handled within committee. We need to
Within
start
the
thinking-
committee's ability to be
get back
able
on
to do it.
track, and that these items can be discussed there and vetted there properly before bringing them to these meetings. However, we can't allow the committees to slow down the progress of the library from making the improvements that we've so wanted for so long. So whether it be improvements on the, designs of the library or the, the technology of the library or any of that, we have to keep on moving. So I'm gonna ask all of the board members that we have to like re-engage ourselves and start getting these committees back together. With that, I'm gonna ask the director as well. I know, Dawn, you have a lot of projects on your mind. I know that you have the Google Drive and with a lot of updates in there. So I'd like to ask that you look at it and come with what you feel are the priorities for the library that you are looking to start moving forward. Put them out to the board. The board will review them and discuss as a board and make the determination if we want to move forward with these things. And if we do, we got to send them right away to committee and start getting the committees more involved in it.
One comment that I would make is, I don't know the level of experience that each trustee has with regard to the subject we're talking about, or about 1,000 different subjects. And in many cases, I think for the benefit of the public and what we're required to do under the state bidding laws is that when somebody comes to me and they're going to tell me I got to buy a new car, or something that I don't have the experience with, that's necessarily, and with hopefully that all three members that are on each committee has the expertise to do all these things, as opposed to the director does the research and then comes down to whatever it is, three of those, but give us something to read and give us some references. And I
This
think
report
that,
was posted in March. And
Yes.
the threshold is one simple number, and that is $17,500. Anything under that, you can absolutely get as many estimates as you like, but that is bid threshold.
Yes.
yes, and the fact of the matter is, the trustees have, run this by Chris, the trustees have the authority to say that we want 3 bids on anything over $7,000, even though it's 75.
Of course,
You would get quotes ordinarily at this level, which is, I believe, what you have. As far as going out to formal bid for something that's below the bid threshold, yeah, with the majority of the board, you could insist on that. I'm not sure why you would, but yes, you can do that.
So with that, I'm asking the director to once again send the information to all the board members with the bids, with the quotes. And any of the trustees are free to do their own due diligence on that and come back with an opinion next month if they want to move forward or not.
And then you want to put the Renaissance
And
under technology for action. on
Dawn,
that.
did,
So
Yeah,
you
so
come in
then we
with
would
it
move that
as a
under,
hot
under
item.
technology, yes.
Dawn, one further question. My preference would be, or my prudence would be to see that we have at least 3 references for each of these quotes.
Certainly.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
What-
So moving on to service, Dawn.
What's that?
Someone
So
else-
what bio from the companies, or what kind of references are we looking for?
Uh, Libraries that they've done similar work for.
Oh, there were, okay.
Those are usually posted on websites because people post their recommendations. So they're
Well,
not
then you
hard to
should be
find.
able to find them easily.
Well,
Mhm.
they don't post bad ones.
Okay, so go ahead.
Can we finish with old business, kind of squip pay? Are we
Oh.
going to get a report on a financial consultant?
That's coming up
It
next.
is. What?
Yeah, I've got that. I just wanted to get to,
Okay, I just didn't, I
Okay.
thought we passed it.
One other thing on old business. Dawn, the state library has not posted anything from 2023 stats for the state. The last one is of course 2022. I put a call in for Bob Keith, who is the guy in charge of data down there. It was late after 4 o'clock today. So hopefully I'll hear from him. Because one of the, in my experience, when you are working on a budget, whatever the business is, you know what you did last year, you know what you did 2 years ago. You anticipate where you think your volume is going to go, whatever. And at least you have a starting point to set that budget. Now, I would ask that in support of that process, it says that both the board and of course the operating director should be working collaboratively, at least toward, my point is this, without knowing, we haven't had any reports, I believe sometime when you started, where we get a monthly action of how much circulation we had. And I don't know when that was ever discussed or approved by the board. I think it's an integral report that you need, because if we find that this new budget's adding 4 people or 5 people and we don't have any more volume, then you got to discuss why or what you're going to do. So
well, you
toward
can
that,
also,
may I finish, please? Toward
Certainly.
that end, if we don't hear from Bob Keith in the next day or two, we'll follow up. And if there's some change that they've made at the state level, then we're gonna have to, you have the report that was sent to him, correct?
the annual report of our numbers, yes.
So if we can't find that, I'd be happy to come in and just review it.
Okay, so I'm confused. I just want to clarify what you're referring to. So you had said something about budget planning, using
Yeah.
that for budget planning?
Yes,
And that money for the municipal allocation was already determined and reported, and that was put in the draft budget that was submitted in December of 2023. Is that what you're referring to?
well, how much money is that?
It's in the budget.
No, that's a dollar amount of the funding that we've got, correct?
The municipal allocation for the coming year, that has been delivered to libraries and was used in creating the 2024 budget.
Yes.
Do we have a 2024 budget?
It was submitted to the Finance Committee in December of 2023. I've requested every month that it be reviewed.
With all due respect, I don't think it dies there if they don't respond to it. I think the budget is director's responsibility, and it's our responsibility to do something with it. I'm not gonna vote for a bill list till I get a budget to compare the present to what we budgeted for. It's July.
One of my questions that I have in the director's report for this month is if I may send the draft budget out to the full board, since it is already July.
I think you need to ask Chris that, because I don't understand if I don't understand the function of committees. The way I understand it, the committees are to help the board determine what they're gonna do, all right? It doesn't have anything to do the job of organizing the library. So if you submit it to the committee and it doesn't work on it, given a reasonable amount of time, I think you work around them and you bring it to the rest of us. Now, your problem is the rest of us for the last couple of meetings have been 5 people. So,
And you're exactly right, Dr. George, and that's the point that I was getting to, and I think that's where the director is getting with a lot of these items that we've been looking to move forward, such as the website and so on, that there haven't been these committee meetings. Now, there's, with good reason for some, for others, a little bit, maybe just unavailable. But we do need to get back into that committee structure and get these things reviewed and vetted in the committees, so that then the full trustees feel more comfortable when they go to move it forward.
And on the issue of the committee's function versus the board function, yes, and we talked about this with some personnel items in 2023. If things are not arriving back on this table out of committee, you certainly have the right to introduce them on an agenda with notice to all trustees for discussion and action.
Yep.
So you can do that with the budget if that's your choice as president.
I think that's a frustration that a lot of us have. Just to get anything done, it seems to be impossible. I have another question. Why is the fact that we're on YouTube a secret
From whom?
from everybody? There's one place where that's announced, and that's on our website, on the top of the agenda and minutes. There's one sentence that says, if you were interested in looking at the TV thing, press here. But I don't see it anywhere else, that if you're interested in looking at our meetings, we're on YouTube. So it's frustrating.
I can
And-
certainly make a point that we'll include that in the newsletter. And once we get control of our website, then we can get
understand.
off of YouTube and we can get onto niche where we should be.
It'll be a long time at the rate we're going.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I'm not faulting you
Okay.
for it. I'm agreeing with the
Item done.
frustration that Maddie has said and, I feel. The business about having consultants for finance, that may be me. I may be the only one that thinks I'm an absolute idiot on this finance stuff, but I need help. So,
And I'll get to that once we get into the director's report. I have the update on that.
okay, thank you.
So the servers.
Mhm.
This is not where we're going with a vendor. This is simply a bill for the equipment and the software. This is us doing the project ourselves for upgrading the servers. And in the report, the domain controllers are about 10 years old, and this has been brought up again since March. Having a Windows folder creation date of August 2013 and a BIOS install date of 2014. They are malfunctioning. I've been reporting this for months. We have the domain controllers that are no longer talking to each other. They're doing something called tombstoning. We have had the free expertise of the town IT manager in helping us because we are connected to some extent with our data lines coming through the building. The cost of the servers and software, those 2 servers are $6,000 each, and including software, the whole thing would come up to 12,000. In the report, I included the specs for anyone who is well versed enough to know how to read those specs. And you can see the reason that we're going, we have support left over from CX Tech that we already paid for when we did the installation of the tower. So they will be there to help guide us should we have any issues. We're not anticipating any. And as I said, that total cost is 12,000. We are each and every single day at risk of these shutting down. They've gone from tombstoning, which the town IT manager was able to help us understand that. And now they're at the point where they're no longer booting up and coming on our computers. And that's the last sign that we will get. If those servers are not upgraded, when they go, the entire building is down and it's going to be extremely expensive to get us back up. That's public computers, that's staff computers. I understand wanting more information with websites and background. I am absolutely begging at this point for us to get these servers moving.
So I would like to say on the behalf of Stan from the IT, from the township, anything he recommends, I'm good with, because I know how well he knows his things.
Yeah,
So if he's saying it and he's recommending it, I personally feel that that alone speaks a lot.
Ruth, I
Besides-
agree with
This-
you. This is my
I'm sorry.
point in that we need expert help. We need it in law. We need it in, I need it in finance, and we need it in this computer stuff. You can read me reports. I don't know what you're talking about, Dawn, and I'm not gonna go out and learn it now. Give me an expert that knows computers and said we need this, and let's stop talking about it and get it done.
In addition to doing,
Can I make a
it's
motion?
what, $6,000 plus $6,000? And any additional charges for installation or whatever, what would that be?
we are doing the installation.
When you say we, who is we?
The information technology manager, I come in to support and make sure that that's done. We have additional support from the town IT manager.
All right, so somebody make a motion, we'll go
I'll make
forward.
the motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Frank, you do it.
All right, any further discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Kevin,
Yes,
Dr. George,
Yes,
I am a yes. Zainab?
Yes.
Maddie,
Yes,
Frank,
Yes,
thank you.
okay. All right, moving on.
This is a bit much, sorry. Saltwater Day, is coming up and sorry, this relates to the incident that we had last week at Lawrence Harbor. So Saltwater Day, I went and did Saltwater Day last year, putting up a tent, doing activities, doing those things. We really didn't get anybody interested in the library and it was a lot of effort to get out there, but we did it. Other staff members have tried other things. This year we have the branch. It is my recommendation that we not open the branch for Saltwater Day because everybody's coming in to use the bathroom. The problem that we had last week, which we'll get the bill for next month, which was over $2,000 by the time we got done for snaking out the sewer pipe. We had to close the branch for 2 days, 3
Mhm.
days.
Yeah.
And the problem is that it's a residential bathroom that's being used as a public facility. So it is my recommendation that we not open the library for Saltwater Day. It's also hard to get staff down there to park. We've got to get people to give us exceptions and that kind of thing. So it's my recommendation that Saltwater Day, we not have the presence this year. And we take a look at what we can do next year and see what our circumstances are with the Lawrence Harbor branch and how to approach that.
Dawn, how is,
I think
how
it's
is the
a-
rest?
it's a township activity. It's not a library one. So I think that if you feel that we should shut it down, I don't see a problem with that. I think you should do it. About last week, though, how come we didn't know that I had to read it on my computer that the branch was closed 2 days? Should we not get some notice about that when it's happening?
So at any time that we close, I don't make that decision until I've checked in with Kevin.
Yeah, well, I
That's my-
just wanted to know that it was closed. I don't want to make the decision. But to find out that the library is closed and not know about it was on, just send us a note somehow.
So I'll, going forward, I'll ask her once we have that discussion to just have someone send a notification out to the trustees.
Yeah, and that's by board.
Yeah.
Some boards have asked me anytime we're closed to send out an email to everyone, and I've just been waiting to
Yeah.
get that request. I have no
Well,
problem.
And the
Nobody else
problem is,
wants one,
Dawn
I
is
would
calling me
like
at
one.
work. She was here one
Forever.
morning at 8:30 in the morning to meet the plumber, not here at Lawrence Harbor at 8:30 in the morning to meet the plumber, and there was other issues going on, so she's running around. I'm at work, and things
Yeah,
get miscommunicated.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make
Okay.
sure I send it to all trustees anytime we have a closure. We had
Okay.
another from the water main break.
A question for anybody who knows, because I've only been to Saltwater a couple of times. Is there any other source? When the old rec building, the one that's being replaced now, they were able to apparently accommodate whatever needs were there, were there ever porta potties there or anything of that nature? Because if you close the library and you don't make some alternate recommendation, and who pays for Saltwater Day? The town?
That's a Township event.
Township, not the
Parks and Rec,
library.
All
They
right,
take
so
care
then,
of all that. You don't have to worry about that. That's
Yeah.
that's not our responsibility.
all right, so if we had so much use of the personal bathrooms that we clogged the pipe, and that source is going to be taken away for whatever it is, we should at least notify the township and tell them that we're not going to be able to provide that because we're closing.
Well, we weren't open in years, so we didn't have that branch in years past, right?
No, you
So
had-
this
but you
time
had the
last year, we were just using the rec center, correct?
Correct.
Which
Yeah.
Parks and Recs has available with a bathroom in there. So there's no
Yeah.
difference between this year and last year, just that the library doesn't have a presence there.
Yes.
Well,
And the other problem you have is that people coming to Saltwater Day are not, from what I hear, predominantly Old Bridge people. They're from all over, so I don't know why it's the library's responsibility. I'm sure that who's ever planning Saltwater Day thinks about bathrooms.
So typically, what day of the week is that? It's
Saturday.
And typically, we're open on a Saturday?
Yes.
So we'll just make sure that there's a notice posted ahead of time that the branch will be closed that day.
Yes, and the librarian can come to work here
Yeah.
or take a day off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And that, I apologize, I was getting that confused with, the last thing that I had on new business was, a request, as we did last year, we closed the library for staff training day. We did it on a Friday near the holidays when people might expect it a little bit more. And this fulfills our requirement, for training. That's when we get those hours in for the year. So we would like to do that and have the library closed on Friday, December 20th for our annual training day.
I think in
So-
the past, and Maria would know, I think it's traditionally been around that time that we had a full day staff set up.
And so we did it last year, I know, and we did it on a Friday,
We did.
and Friday is not very, like traffic wise is not as busy as some of the other days, maybe?
Yeah, Friday's less busy than
Yes.
our other days.
Okay, and we didn't get much pushback. I'm sure there was a few people that.
None.
None, okay.
No, honestly, we had no pushback from the community last year. We had one comment that our signage wasn't clear enough. So we'll make sure that that's taken care of.
Okay.
And I'll provide an agenda at minimum a month before, probably 2 months before, so that the board can review the agenda for training day.
And I don't believe this is an action item, correct, Chris.
I thought the
Doing this might,
Okay, so
When they
then,
do it,
we'll
have a-
ask someone to make a
Can
motion.
can you lump them together for
Lump what?
the two dates that you want to close, Lawrence Harbor and this one?
Do we need to do Lawrence Harbor?
You don't need to do the Lawrence Harbor one.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't need-
This was a different one because
Yeah.
you're talking about a staff training day and closing, you're basically changing the library calendar on this one.
Yes.
So you need a motion.
And doing that, I don't know if this is out of turn because you haven't given your report yet. But I did read that the expenses are running higher on repairing bathroom number 7. And that's gotta be revised.
And
And-
if it's all right, I'm gonna get to that in the director's report. in
Okay,
just a
fine, that's
moment.
fine, I'll wait.
Sure.
All right, so are we making, you made the motion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion out there. Do we have a second? This is to close.
Second,
Okay.
What's the
and
motion?
The
This is
motion
to
is
close
to
on
close
Friday,
the
December
library on
20th.
Friday, December 20th for staff training.
Oh, well, second.
and when that thing gets posted as well, please include in it that people can electronically, assuming that our servers are taken care of before then, can access whatever they can electronically for that day.
All right, did you get that? He just said, just make sure that when we post the closure, that we put a statement that people can access our services electronically.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other discussion on this?
Yeah,
Roll
yeah,
call.
Dr. George?
Oh, sorry.
Right.
Yes. Yes,
Thank you. I am a yes. Zainab,
Yes,
Maddie,
Yeah,
Frank,
Yes,
Kevin,
Yes,
we're good.
okay, thank you.
now, where were we at? There's one other thing I wanted to mention. I saw the advertisement for the artist that's gonna be here tomorrow, Saturday. Singing 30s to 60s music songs. And a question for Chris. If we wanted to, every time we recorded them, even the high school kids recorded them, they could also be used as something, if they can be used as something to sell the process of what goes on so people know. If they see some of the groups that have been here in the past and going forward, I think it just might be a help to get more music and more entertainment out to people.
Yeah, and as long as you're not using it for commercial benefit of the library, if you're just maintaining it as an activity that has happened, you can do that.
Great.
Okay. All right, does anybody have anything else for new business? Okay, we will move on to director's report.
So to get started, with that Lawrence Harbor, with that bathroom. So the issue there isn't the amount of volume that the bathroom is being used. It has to do with if you have an understanding of plumbing, most old cast iron pipe gets replaced with PVC. Roots and things get into the cast iron. So at some point, the PVC was put in, but underneath the building is still the cast iron. So where the cast iron connects up into the PVC, the pipe has settled so that there's a lip of about 2 inches that blocks waste from moving through. So the reason why this was so complicated and got so expensive was because the water moves through, but the rest of the things do not move through. So this is why it had to be cleaned out in a special way, and why I, in fact, asked Chris to assist us in determining, as things got more expensive, I put a halt on it to make sure that it was still our responsibility. Because if you have bathrooms that get clogged, getting those cleaned is obviously the tenant's responsibility. But as you get into sewer pipes, to me, that becomes more of a structural issue. So I wanted to check and make sure that it was within our maintenance. It was determined that it was. We went through with the rest of that. Now that Archer Plumbing has gone through and fully examined that pipe and found that the pipe itself we need to be very careful with how we're using that. And they recommend that that pipe be fixed. And I
Mhm.
don't believe that that's a tenant responsibility.
That's correct. That's a structural change.
Yeah.
And with that written recommendation, that should be shared with Amboy.
And I,
basically shift to them as the landlord.
yes, and so I'm gonna be sending this to them, but it's $14,500 and the floor would have to be demoed. So I don't see that happening, but I wanted to let all of you know before I send that on to Amboy, because I mean, I don't see it as a request to Amboy, but it is letting them know what was found out.
Mhm.
And then if we continue to have problems, then it becomes an issue, but hopefully we don't.
Yes.
That's what-
Dawn,
Yeah,
Dawn, offline, I'll give you the phone number for the OBMUA, not that they're gonna fix it, but you can get a free second opinion. And I'm sure you'll get response from them, but they may give you some guidance that might be helpful or less expensive.
that sounds like an excellent suggestion. Thank you. Okay, to get on to where we're at, my apologies as I rifle through. This is a special report. This is not it. Sorry, I'm getting to the finance portion. So what I did as requested is I went through and did a survey of all of the LMXAC library directors about funding, about finance. And of the 40, 13 responded. And so I took the opportunity to ask a number of questions. The majority of libraries, when it came, so I asked them very specifically, if the director had a role in finance rates, and determining which bank was being used. In the majority, 6 libraries, the treasurer and the board made the banking decisions. The library director had only one of those 13 libraries had the director alone evaluating rates. Some had their finance person, some had a combination of library administrators. So it wasn't auditors. Of the 11, and I just looked at the 11 libraries, in 11 of them, the director doesn't even sign checks. So that was where that was. I gave the results of the survey in the report. In addition to that, what I've done, because I was originally looking at the municipal deposit banks, which the state puts out a list of those every year. And I went down through those and I started checking in on rates. And then I realized that I need to scrap that. So I'll have that list next month. Because it actually has to also be a bank that Irene can get to. So it can't be any bank in the state that I was going from that list. It's got to be someplace where she can go and make actual deposits and things like that. So that will be coming, and that's the result of the research that I have thus far.
Okay.
Okay. What's going to be coming next month, and I spoke to Chris very briefly about it, is going to be a draft of some changes to the notary policy. We've had some concerns and issues from municipal offices in the town because we advertise, we have regular notary services, but we don't do full notary services. There's a lot that we don't do, such as trusts and wills and things like that. So what happens is that the public gets frustrated. Some of our municipal agencies get frustrated because they're wondering why we're not signing things. So what I want to do, and I'll just make recommendations once that committee is back in order, to just make a suggestion that we change things to say limited notary policy and list what we actually do. Like saying that we do the school forms is a big help to the community, that we get those done. Some of the sports things that we get done. Some of the services that we do with notarizing passport forms, that's a big help to the community. So there is a lot of worth in what we do, but I think making it clearer via our policy is going to take a lot of frustration out for the public and for staff. So that's coming. The budget, I'm very excited. We have the driver getting ready, that situation to get that going again in September with visits to the preschools and to the senior communities. We had our new head of adult services and the IT manager went to Plainfield today. Plainfield is a state model and leader in digital literacy instruction. And they went in today so that in September, we're going to be able to start adding back some classes, some of the one-to-one sessions and things like that. So basically, a lot of things the board's been asking for are all moving forward. Lastly, the transition with the catalog has still not been good. I am very much on top of that with LMXAC, that is now called Stella. There's a lot of discussion going on with the way that the new catalog is and what we could do to make improvements there. We are also, I'm not sure anyone remembers, a couple of months ago, I had said that I wanted to purchase Plymouth Rocket. Plymouth Rocket is a software that's about $1,500 a year. That would be for room reservation, calendar, and room reservation, calendar and event registration. Because right now we don't have any central management system for all of our rooms, and that's a big problem. Our calendar, you can't even see it on a mobile device. You can only see it on a regular computer. I'm exploring what's available for free in our new catalog. That'll be happening in August, but I don't want anybody to think that that fell off the table. All right, and then lastly, I want to make sure, as we're still getting in with purchasing, I'm not entirely understanding. We purchased those early literacy stations a few months ago, and they're very popular. We have so many parents using them and enjoying them. The two that we're going to be putting out for older students, I need to purchase a table and chairs. But I'm a little hesitant to purchase a table and chairs because even though it's within the director's discretion, I don't want that to end up being a problem later on. So that's just a general question about being able to purchase, especially when I keep a close eye on our furnishings budget for the year, and there's $142,000 left in it for this year.
Yeah, if it's within your discretion and it's within your current available funds under your current budget,
Okay,
then it's fine. There is no requirement. I mean, it should go in your director's report probably, but there's no requirement for action
Okay.
or specific approval.
I just want to be clear so that we can start sailing a bit more smoothly.
All right, Chris, or Dawn, can you tell everybody for any of the newer trustees what that threshold is that Dawn has discretion to go forward, assuming that the funding is there?
What is your cap? I think it's.
It's 2,600. So that's the rule that I've had here. In other libraries, I'm just sharing this for experience. It's been much more about bid threshold and the budget. If we have a category for furniture that is $142,000 and I have an expense that's less than 17.5, then those, of course, it goes in the director's report and it gets discussed. I've never worked anywhere where each of those had to be voted on. If that's the board's wish, then that's fine. And the threshold that I got was $2,600, that was a purchase that could be made without putting all of the rationale in and a big discussion that that's what that was.
Yeah.
So Chris, the furniture, I assume, is going to be under 2,600?
Of course.
All right, so it's within your discretion, the funds are there. Case closed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
I think that when it's something that's obviously library business and you're recommending that it's used and we need more of them, there's no question that you should be able to order it. But you keep saying if it's in the budget or it's in the budget, we don't have a budget. So that's what, could you just do something to get us the budget?
budget's already done. It'll be sent out.
And then put it on the August agenda, and if the finance committee wants to come, fine, and if they don't, we vote on it anyway. Is that,
What I would recommend for the budget is that you send it one last time to the committee and say, as discussed in the full meeting, this will be voted on for the August agenda unless the committee has, any discussion that they want to bring before them.
So you want me to send it out to the finance committee?
I'd like to
And
send
then
it to the
wait.
finance committee, right? And then we know that when you send out the packet for the
Understood.
August meeting, it'll be included in there.
Okay,
But you're going to give a heads up to the committee that this is going forward unless they want to take action within the next 30 days.
understood. And I have nothing else.
Okay. Does
Oh, by the
anybody
way-
else have anything for new business or actually we covered all old business, new business. All right, moving on to committee reports, buildings and grounds. Rocco is not here. Have you guys had a meeting?
No,
No, nothing. Okay. Finance, we discussed. Outreach and marketing. Frank, I know there's nothing going on there.
No.
Personnel negotiations. Sarah's not here, but we have not had a meeting.
Yeah, and we'll be starting negotiations after your September
In
meeting.
September, you said, yeah.
Yep.
And policy, I think you covered policy already,
Notary.
yeah,
the notary policy.
can I, yes.
Okay.
Can I say one thing with regard just, and this is just a general question for the board. So before we got started, so some of you may not have seen it, I have a draft of the newsletter that we're going to be printing and starting off with about 200 print copies to see how that works. And then we're also going to be using Constant Contact and cleaning that up where we have about 15,000 contacts there. But the last time the newsletter was sent out, there were about 5,000 people who opened it. So we're going to be cleaning that up, and that's all in that position. So we'll be reporting back, but is everyone okay with moving forward with us doing 200 print copies and then using electronically? Are there any further recommendations? I understand putting the YouTube that the meetings are in, we'd like to include that somewhere. And we're stressing what I came up with as a draft, and that is visit, borrow, stream. So that's the little tagline, visit as in visit the library, borrow as in borrow from the library, and stream, meaning we're a 24/7 library where you access. And
where
we're
are you
just,
gonna put the printed copies? I think Maddie asked that. I was interested in that too. Are the printed copies only gonna be at the library?
that's what our plan was to start. If the board would prefer that we leave them somewhere else, we can do that.
So-
I think that we keep preaching to the same choir. If we do all our surveys and we talk to people who come to the library, and then we do things and we put it in the library. There are a lot of people out there that never come to the library, but are interested, in these things. So if
Would
we
it be possible to put it on the website?
Of course,
yeah.
my apologies. It will
Yeah.
also be available on the website.
And if you can post, we could start using our social media more and post links to it,
We have,
so
Yeah.
on. And then, maybe, so you can have our marketing person now speak to the township and find out what sources they find available for when they put out things like that, such as all around Old Bridge. I know they mail it to everyone, but I also know that it's available in certain locations around the township.
How about the new ShopRite? Everybody's going there.
Yeah,
Target ShopRite, and you got a high volume of traffic. And if they-
But-
Yeah.
so
And-
that,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
just, that was my question. Is 200 print copies too conservative? Should I be doing more and leaving, I mean, should we do 400 and 200 we leave at other locations? I'm genuinely asking for
Well,
your opinion on starting.
I
It's a
think it
guess,
depends.
you know, I mean,
Well-
nobody can give you an exact answer, so.
Yeah,
I don't-
and I think it depends on how many locations you find that you can put it out at, right?
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, this is
So-
gonna be an experiment at first. It's been 2
Yeah.
years.
but could I also ask that the newsletter, I don't read it, so I don't, there may be something in there. Is there something that highlights, let's say, on every month, a service that's available at the library?
Yes.
There is.
Sorry.
Okay.
So what we do and what we've been doing, sorry, I'm so excited that
Mhm.
we're finally getting to this.
Mhm.
So every month we highlight a service. Every month we highlight a youth program, an adult program, an author, and we make sure that we're hitting our electronic services as much as we're doing our print. And this is where, just as an example, we have a whole, I'll send you all the draft before we start printing. But it says the library as your travel center. And on that page, we have passport services. We have Pronunciator, which is our database
Mhm.
for language learning for when you're going to travel. And then for the kids, we have Playaway launch pads, which are little learning devices that they can borrow and take with them. So it's where you can get your books about travel, your language learning, entertainment for the kids and all of that. And that's just one page as an example.
So you could drop them off at places like the YMCA where there's families that go into. The YMCA, local banks, someplace where they're waiting online and they'll grab it.
Yep.
Where they're waiting online. The township also, you can do it right by the courtroom.
Yeah.
Because it's always packed over there. So
Oh, okay.
I put all my stuff out there too.
All right. I
And
didn't
there's
even
a
know
table.
that.
And I even have a bulletin board there. I
Yeah.
could always pin one in there for
Yeah.
you. But you can leave hard copies for people to pick up.
And we're doing library.
One of the newsletters that we've shared in the past is Highland Parks. It's Mike Babish's library. He used to
Okay.
work with us. And it's very good. And there's a section in it that I thought was clever. It has the telephone numbers that you need for elder care, for things that you would be getting from the municipal building, but these are telephone numbers that you can get at the library.
Okay.
Okay, and there were just a lot of resources that are out of the library, but are in Old Bridge. But look at it, you'll see, they're good ideas.
I appreciate that. And also another section that's gonna be in is library by the numbers to start giving some value calculations every month. Meaning exactly what Frank was talking about with the number of circulations, the number of books that people have access to, passports issued, how many people are volunteering. We're just gonna be doing that. As an aside, the new catalog has on every receipt that's printed, whether we want it or not, it tells you how much money you're saving by checking out these books from the library. Meaning, if you checked out 3 books, you're saving $84. I'm not a huge fan. We weren't asked about it.
Yeah, well, that's okay. There's one other favorite project I had that I would like to see maybe enter into it, and that's notable Old Bridge people. People who went to Old Bridge schools who have got fame in the world, and
No felons.
there are more than you ever want to know, and just highlight one every once in a while. And there ought to be a list, because we started a whole big list.
And not even, and in addition to that, Richard Pucciarelli from the Historical Society, I am having our offsite services, the branch manager, reach out to him because their videos are still on YouTube. And I was actually fascinated, some of the people that were featured in those with the Old Bridge history and who was featured in the New York Times about Old Bridge and things like that. And we're looking at that being something. So the Lawrence Harbor branch has less history available to it than the rest of Old Bridge. So we're actually looking at finding a way for that Lawrence Harbor history for her to take a lead with that, because I think that's something that's really going to engage the residents there, and start moving in with that. There's a wonderful book, and it's the headwaters of Cheesequake Creek. That's the history book, and we're so fortunate to have a history that detailed. Most towns don't get that. They get those books where it's all old pictures and not much information. We've got a really rich history book written that was put out and is still managed by the Historical Society.
Yes,
We
you could do
But-
a electronic backpack in the schools.
Yeah,
With your electronic copy, and that'll reach all the schools, especially all the parents in
Yep.
elementary schools,
yeah.
because they're the ones that look at it.
Okay.
Hey, Matty was,
Just a little, couple of,
speak
couple of
up.
items.
remember, we also rock and roll history. I don't know if that's anywhere.
All right.
Didn't hear you.
Rita, you broke
Try it
up.
again, man.
Oh, yeah, I said we also had a big rock and roll history. I don't know if that's anywhere.
Oh, I'm gonna put that on there. What's that history?
I think it's like Metallica.
You want a
Really?
crazy circle on my board.
Yeah. I think so.
I didn't even
You-
know
you-
that.
You speak to the Old Bridge Militia about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll hook
They
you up
used
with
to
them.
stay at the
Their
house
houses.
on Englishtown Road.
Wow.
Yeah.
okay.
And there'll be a
one
million
more-
people claiming they went to school with them, to their
Okay.
kids. So they won't think their parents are so old. One of the other things is, I think needs to be done, and I've, talked about it for a number of years. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joanne, but our our numbers of membership are only a 5-digit zip code. Is that correct?
Oh, Frank, you hit the nail on the head. I've been dying to tell you. The new catalog system extends to that additional 4-digit code. So what they've said is that once the catalog gets going and we start getting reports, we are now going to be able to refine our circulation statistics to specific neighborhoods within Old Bridge.
All right, so you will be able to do this all at once,
That's
rather than to do it, member by member, that kind of thing. Because the thing, particularly if you're looking to justify putting a lot of money into South Old Bridge, which I think we are, but I want to confirm it too. And if you get those, when you get the 9-digit zip codes, you should be able to, by ward, recognize how many, because the big problem with it is, we all know traffic is not getting better, it's getting worse. And kids who go to grammar school or anything like that, and if a parent wants to take them after school, by the time they get off a bus at close to 4 o'clock, it's virtually impossible. So that can be a lot of support,
It's
for
something-
anything.
Once they work out these kinks with the catalog, right now, it's doing auto renews without, and we didn't ask for that. We don't want auto renews, and we're having a really hard time getting that fixed. So I'm being quite vocal on the director's list from LMXAC with pushing for all the benefits that we're supposed to get. But that's one of them that I will absolutely focus on, because I've taken to heart all of the times that you've expressed how important it is.
Yeah, and of course, LMXAC was the one who recommended that we do away with fines. But you weren't here then.
Then the whole nation is recommending getting rid of fines. I've never brought that up here, but that's a national trend, not a
Yeah.
consortium trend.
Well, when the proposal was worked out to us, at the time, I suggested to the director who had gone to the LMXAC meeting, was the next person you'll hear from is our attorney. And we never went to it. Some of our county, other libraries went to it, and it was a disaster. And they got out of it quickly.
It's a national trend because it's actually working out in a lot of areas, but that's not, I think we've got a lot more projects to get through before that comes up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There was something else, but I know. Have any of you ever gone on to the New Jersey site and checked a list of any of the databases that they have access to? which I would suggest just to, in other words, they have an extensive, very comprehensive explanation of the brain freeze program, which is very helpful if somebody's interested in it. So since I'm going to be housebound for several more weeks or maybe a month, I'm sure I'll be having conversations with you about things that I think there that you might be interested in that would make sense for you to decide if you want to use them or not.
If you mean the databases that are available on the state website, those are already integrated into our website, but they are very useful.
Okay, all right. That's all I've got.
Thank you. One last thing I would just like to note. I think it was probably around the end of the year last year, we were discussing the emails and so on and making sure that we all had a Old Bridge Library email set up. And I know that Dawn made sure that all of us got one set up. I believe everybody did, right? All
Yes.
trustees should have one. Just to better protect ourselves in case there's any concerns of anything discussions wise or anything. We all should be using the Old Bridge Library emails for library business. So I just encourage everyone to start using it so that the director can start to drop off our personal emails from the communications.
And I just want to add that things like that technology report, those I post them on under the board reports. So those are there.
Mhm.
I always post them there. And I have been sending, when I do an email, I send it to everyone's personal and Old Bridge so that we can get used to everything. So I'll wait for you to tell me when
Yeah.
to stop sending them the other way.
If anyone is using it and would like Dawn to drop their personal, just please send her an email or give her a call. Right.
Definitely a good idea to move towards library emails and away from personal emails.
All right, with that, I will move on to public comments. If anybody from the public has anything? Nothing from the public? Okay, then with that, I will ask for, did you have something?
Question,
Yes.
you didn't do the motion for the executive session minutes.
Yeah, we
did.
did
We combined-
one.
we
Did you
combined
do
them.
that one?
Yeah,
Oh, we
combined
combined
them,
them.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
thank you. I didn't realize
Okay.
they were combined.
So with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
Thank you. Second?
A second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Opposed? No? Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good night.